Hey Caleb, Jessica Peterson here with Peterson SEO. Thank you so much for speaking with me earlier and accepting this free video. I am super excited that you did because today I'm going to show you 3 strategies you can start applying right away, and it's going to make a huge impact in your business. And I know that it will because we've applied these same strategies with over 50 other restoration companies just like you guys, and it's made a huge impact in their businesses. Right now, you guys have 0 in organic traffic landing on your website, and that means you're missing out on 60 to 70% of the available jobs in your service area every single month. So today we are going to talk about 3 main strategies that you can start applying right away. We're going to talk about your content keyword strategy, your citations, and then finally your backlinks. Okay. So as you can see, we are here on your website. I am happy that you have a good secured website. I am happy to see that you have some good call outs here and a click to call phone number. When your customers land on a website, you have seconds to grab their attention, and they're not going to hunt for your information. So having click to call buttons and a form right up here in the hero section when people do land on your page helps with conversion by up to 80%. So you definitely want to have your click to call buttons and a form right up here. Now, at first glance at your website here, this does appear to look like a simple landing page or a single page website, which Google does not like. Okay, Google does want you to have separate pages for all of your major services, because that allows you to have a specific page designed to talking about everything about each of those services, to answer the most common questions, and really hyper focus on the local keywords that people are using and searching for those services. Now, I had to come all the way down here to the bottom of your page to even find out that you actually do have these pages. But when you go to these pages, they're pretty much like this homepage, and there's 0 content, no written content, no keyword strategies. So even though you have the pages, there's really no information here that's going to help Google bring people to your website. Okay. Now, when it comes to ranking website, it isn't based on appearance. It is based on content, and you do need a lot of content. And that is content such as videos and images, as well as written content. But everything you do have, we want to make sure is optimized with the local keywords. So if we take a look here, this image says after one, blah, 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 lots of letters and numbers. So that is not an optimized image. You want to optimize it with local keywords, because 90% of people, when they're searching for your services, they don't know who you are. They're not going to be searching your brand name. They're going to be searching for the service they need. So you need to have content built around that. So that is like water damage restoration, Kansas City. Water damage, Kansas City. Kansas City water damage repair. Okay, you need to use those local keywords. And people do search differently. So you want to make sure you're capturing the different ways people search. So you do need a good amount of content, especially on this, which would be your home page. Okay, you need at least 1,500 words or more of written content on this page. And if your competition has 1,500, you need more than they have. Whenever we're competing against a competitor, we always have to at least one up what they're doing. Okay, so if they have 1,500 words, you might try for 1,800 or even 2,000 words on this page. This page, the home page, is the most critical page of the entire website because it ties all of the pages together. Okay. Another thing to note is that usability of your website, having a good navigation system that is not only easy for Google to understand the services that you're offering and how they relate to one another, but it helps your customers to get to where they need to be going, what they're looking for. So not having a navigation up here definitely hurts you guys. Okay, you definitely have to have that navigation up here. The footer is not going to work because when people don't see it when they land on the page, they're just going to bounce. Okay, you only have seconds to capture that attention. Now, Google is sending crawlers to your website, and it's going to scan all of your images, all your pages, videos, photos, everything. And it's trying to learn everything they can about your business. What type of services are you offering? And where do you offer those services? It is looking for keywords that they can index so that when people search those keywords, they can send people to your page. But because your website really doesn't have any content, there's 0 keywords or keyword strategy, Google has no idea, okay? There's no organization throughout this website, nothing ties to anything, and so Google cannot possibly send customers to your website. So anybody who's landing on your website is coming because they are putting your website in or specifically looking up Heartland Restoration. And again, 90% of people who need your services don't know who you are. That is not what they're searching. So as important as that brand is, you have to hyper focus on those local keywords. Now, if we look at your top competitor in Kansas City for water damage. Ooh, my computer's loading. Sorry about that. We do have Power Dry, okay? And they do have a good looking website. They have separate pages for each of the service areas, which is highly recommended so you actually show up in the areas you serve. They have separate pages for their major services, okay? They do have the click to call buttons that we talked about. They have a form towards the top of their page. It's the higher it is on the page, the more your conversions you're going to get. And they do have a lot more content than you guys, okay? You do need a brief summary of all the major services that you're offering on this homepage. And it needs to focus around those local keywords. So you can see they have, well, I would say they don't have enough content. They do have quite a bit more content than you guys do. So you do have to beat them in content, okay? That is how many pages of the website, how many written words per page. They do a lot of long form blogging, having more blogs, etc. All of those things are going to put you in a good position to not only be more competitive, but to eventually be able to outrank these guys one day, okay? So content is absolutely critical for you guys. Now, we know when your customer does a search, they'll do a search similar to this up here. And when they do, we want your customers to find your website, okay? And so there's 3 main spots in Google that can happen. The first spot is generally going to be ads or local service ads, which can be profitable if you want to do that, as long as you have everything dialed in and you have the proper landing pages. You're not just sending them to your main site, okay, because you're not going to get a conversion. Now, these next 2 areas, this gets the bulk of the search traffic. Okay, this first section here, this is your Google Business Profile, Google Map Pack area. You want your profile to show up in the top 3 because 30% of people come straight here when they're searching, and they'll call these top 3 businesses. So when you're not one of them, you're leaving money on the table and quite literally handing those customers to your competitors. So in order to get in these positions, you do have to further optimize these profiles. And you need to go out and get a bunch of citations. And citations are simply listing the name of the business, the address, phone number, and website, and putting those in a bunch of directories. Things like the Yellow Pages, Better Business Bureau, Glassdoor, LinkedIn, even Angie's and Home Advisor, your social media profiles, all of those are citations. And so you need more of those than your competition has. And those are going to help you tremendously when it comes to ranking in this map pack. And then finally, this third section here, this is the most critical section because 60 to 70% of people will skip over ads and the map pack, and they're going to come right here. Okay. And so if with your website not showing up here, you're losing 60 to 70% of those jobs every single month. So in order for your website to show up here, it does come back to the foundation of this website. Is it properly built with the right pages, content, and keyword strategy? And then are you supporting that with backlink SEO? So as we look here, this is Ahrefs, a paid tool we use to show how your website is performing. And as we can see here, you guys have a rating of a 0 out of 100 in Google's trust flow, which means Google doesn't trust your website. And yes, it does have to do with the quality of your website, but it also has to do with the power you're sending to your website, okay? Your website is a tool, and like most tools, they require power. And so we do need a lot of backlinks. But it's important to understand that not all backlinks are created equal. This is a popularity contest. So while you do need a lot of backlinks and more than your competition, you only want good quality do-follow links that are closely related to your business. So those are going to be coming from websites of other home service type businesses, okay, and vendors, okay. And as you get more of those good quality links, this score is going to increase, and Google's going to start promoting your website higher to make it easier to be found, and it's going to help you to rank your keywords. Okay, so since your website doesn't really have any content, you've only been indexed for 4 keywords. And if we look at those keywords here, it's mostly branding, even branding for another business, like fine restoration. You are indexed for water damage remediation in Kansas City, but you're on the 5th page. There's 10 spots per page on Google. Nobody goes that far. So you're not getting any traffic to your website, and you're missing out on tons of potential customers not having these strategies in place. And when we look at your top competitor, they have a rating of 18 with over 900 backlinks. Now, not all 900 are good backlinks, so we don't have to go after the spammy backlinks. But we do have to do better. So we have to get better quality and more of them, okay? They have a lot more pages, content, blog articles, etc. So they've been indexed for over 500 keywords, and they're getting over 1,800 people to their website every single month. And when you look at their keywords, we can see that they are ranking on the first page of Google for a ton of keywords. They're getting tons of traffic, okay? And they're ranking for the local keywords. Water damage Kansas City alone has 350 searches every single month. Water damage restoration Kansas City has 200 searches every month, okay? So there's hundreds, over 1,000 in search volume just for water damage alone in Kansas City. And these are things that you could be capitalizing on as well when you follow these strategies that I've shown you today. So, yes, Power Dry is beatable, but you do need these strategies in place. So please feel free to take these strategies, run with it, apply today, and start helping more people in your community. But if you'd rather focus on what you do best and have a partner in this, go ahead and reach out to us at Peterson SEO, because this is our specialty, and we specialize in working with restoration companies just like you guys. So please feel free to reply to my email, ask any questions you might have, give us a call, and we would be happy to chat. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.